Last video on the channel was back in September. Oh, okay. Hey, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, Adrian here. Recording this amidst the holidays, post-Christmas, right before the New Year's. Thought it was the kind of the perfect time to do a very, very big haul over the last couple months. And it's funny because I never envisioned, like, with this channel that it was going to be a lot of that content, but this channel was always just intended to kind of be a medium for me to just upload whatever, and I'm a big fan of long form content. And truthfully, being in this new space, actually looking back, I've only uploaded 2 videos since I moved here back in September. So this is a lot of what's accrued over the last 3+ months, to be fair. So a lot of this has just been either sitting, recently arrived, I've had it for a bit. So there's a lot to cover in this one. So settle in, we got a lot to unbox and look over. So a lot of the stuff I got to go through is sitting, well, behind me. There's a whole table full of stuff. Originally was going to shoot the video over there, but I just kind of need the setup here in front of me to also cover some other stuff that I have sitting on the desk. And I figured I'd start with some boxes that I actually just received today. So these are the most recent stuff I've picked up here. It's going to be a mix today of games, a lot of tech, some lifestyle stuff. So let's dive into it. Okay, so here's the part where I tell you a little bit about my recent addiction into the app that is Whatnot. If you follow certain communities, you probably know what this app is. It's essentially like a live streaming platform for you to auction off items. It can be luxury goods, it can be retro games, all sorts of stuff. It's very well known in the retro gaming community, and you can essentially live bid on items. And amidst the holidays, I spent a lot of time on this app, more time than I care to admit. And I have some of those packages here arriving right now. So okay, so first box here, I do recall, which because these are the most recent auctions that I went through. Whatnot really incentivizes you to kind of like keep on bidding because you save on shipping and whatnot, and obviously sellers can give you like bulk discounts. So this was a seller who she was doing a lot of retro game auctions and specifically a lot of imports, so Japanese titles, and a lot of N64 titles, which I was looking for to kind of help contribute towards my collection here. It's kind of centered here. So here we have it. Let's go ahead and see everything that I got because I don't truly remember all the titles. But here we have it. Super easy to package because you can see all I got were N64 games here. So let's go ahead and take this out of the way. Toss that to the side. It's going to be a mess after this video. So yeah, a pretty good haul of N64 games. Truthfully though, I think, and I'll try to grab the prices, I think I spent like a little bit under 50, 60 bucks for all of these. And a lot of these are, again, import titles, which are obviously run cheaper compared to like NA titles. Japanese games tend to be cheaper. But personally, I actually want to get a lot of the Japanese titles. Having been born and raised in Japan, hits a little bit closer to home for me. And here we have a couple titles, so let's go through them. First up, we have Harvest Moon for the N64. We have Banjo-Tooie, so this is Banjo-Kazooie 2. Essentially, some of these titles are going to be a little different, considering these are like the Japanese editions. Mario Party 3 right here. So that's, again, the Japanese cart. And then Banjo-Kazooie, the original, again, Japanese cart. So a little bit of usage and weathering on these cartridges, but I mainly bought because as long as the main label's intact, that's really what matters to me. And if you don't know, a lot of with the Japanese N64, you can play these on a US N64 with a really simple kind of mod. You can literally 3D print or buy a 3D printed kind of shell that adjusts, and basically it's just like a little spacer for the cartridges to fit, and that's how they region locked games back in the day. It's just like a physical kind of connection that wouldn't fit, and then if you got this 3D printed shell, you could easily get that working. Next up here, we have some more games. We have Puzzle Bobble 64. This is something I remember playing a lot, not just on the N64, I mean like not on the N64, but specifically back in Japan, arcade games. It's like a whole series of Puzzle Bobble. You have Excite Bike for the N64. I really like this cover for the Japanese edition. This is Human Grand Prix. This is just like a racing game, nothing special, but again, needed it for the collection. And then Ogre Battle 64, which is a more kind of like sleeper hit, but definitely a known game for the N64. I believe it's more like RPG style, but again, Ogre Battle 64 for the Japanese one. This one definitely has a lot of sun fading and wear on it, But outside of that, again, really solid titles. So that is a total of 8 games that I got, again, just for under $50, I want to say. Like, and that's including like taxes and shipping. So it was probably like, for the price I got the games, a little bit cheaper than that. Again, this is going to be a long one, so hopefully you are strapped in, and or you can use the timestamps if you just want to jump to things that interest you. All right, next box here. Managed to get that open. Same sort of box here. This actually includes a nice little packing slip from Whatnot. So this is from the seller. I believe it's Pest on Whatnot. Nice little package in here. A lot of little protective foam and whatnot. I see some more N64 games. This one's not too big of a haul. This was pretty light. But here we have some N64 games. This is Gex 3 for the N64. So this is an NA cart, so US cartridge here. Star Wars Shadow of the Empire for the N64. Again, NA cart. And then 1080 Snowboarding, another classic for the N64 collection. I am going for a complete N64 collection. And then last but not least here, this one is definitely beat up and a bit, obviously, seen better days. But this is the NES cartridge for the Legend of Zelda. So this is just one of those classic NES games. I have Zelda 2 for the NES, and I just wanted another gold card to kind of match it. Again, got a decent deal on this, and again, not the best condition, but fair for what I got it for. So this is, again, the Legend of Zelda NES cartridge. This gold cartridge in particular. Definitely the oldest pickup that I got here. All right, so the next package I have here is not from Whatnot. It is a item I've been waiting for the last couple weeks since it got launched. I was fortunate to get it amidst the early release. But this is a package from someone in the retro gaming community, very well known by the name of Mike Chi from RetroTink. So if you're in the retro game community or don't know anything about RetroTink, Mike Chi is a developer and manufacturer of RetroTinks, which are a line of products that are essentially video game scalers. So for a lot of people who play with like retro consoles and they want to use those on modern hardware, you obviously, the NES, the N64, the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 wasn't meant to run on a 4K TV or monitor. A scaler allows you to take that, 360p, 480p image and then scale it appropriately to run on modern hardware. And it's a little bit fancier than the adapters that you might buy. There's a lot of, complex math and algorithms and all that to it. But this is Mike Chi's latest piece de resistance. That is the RetroTink 4K. So I was very fortunate to get this at launch. Here's the RetroTink sticker that ships with the orders. It's pretty cool there. And then we have looks like the cable. So this is USB-C to USB-A. We have the pen drive, or the USB drive / micro SD card reader. So I believe this is like a dual-sided, USB-C. This is a pretty cool flash drive, just alone. USB-C, USB-A, and then it has the SD card and micro SD card slot. So this is like a micro SD card reader for the RetroTink. But this is his all-new scaler that is like an all-in-one that goes all the way up to 4K. So it's his latest that he has here. Here's the remote that it ships with. And then you have the scaler itself right here. And again, this is going to take your retro gaming console experience and bring it to the modern age and then some. A lot of people are claiming like it's caused them to get rid of their CRT TVs and whatnot in lieu because of this box right here. So there's a RetroTink logo. You have your ports right here. So you have your component in, you have your audio in, your VGA in, optical audio, HDMI out and in. So this allows you to then plug in your retro consoles into the RetroTink and then output it to your TV via HDMI. You have ports like the SCART cable here, and then on this side you have the ability for your standard component video that you may be used to, so red, white, and yellow there, and then your S video port. You have your SD card, which is preloaded with some presets and whatnot right here for the RetroTink 4K, and you can load more stuff onto that. And yeah, this box is a powerful powerhouse of a scaler. again, if you don't really know a lot about scalers or in the retro game community, this might not mean much. But if you are in the retro community, you know a lot about Mike Cheese products, and this is like the all-new one that people are swearing by. I have not owned a scaler in the past. As somebody who only like in the last couple of years got into retro game collecting, I'm super excited to have this and kind of add this to my arsenal and hook it up in the media center / game lounge, because it's going to allow me to hook up a lot of those, older gen retro consoles and kind of get it into the best visual quality and just a lot of tweaks and options. So I'm going to have a whole separate video on this on Digital Dojos, because there's just so much to dive into when it comes into this. Okay, let's keep the train moving along here. A couple other things I also picked up in light of knowing I was going to get the retro tank. There goes my NES game. Picked up some HD Retrovision cables. Specifically, this is going to be for the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. So this is just the PlayStation AV port to component audio. So I can use that over something like, component video cable. Use this over versus something like the red, yellow, white component cables, or RCA cables, I should say, that you may be used to. So again, HD Retrovision cable is very well known in the space. And then a couple other things I picked up here. Let's dive slightly into the realm of lifestyle, because this is just some products I have here. I have two very different pair of sunglasses here, and you'll see why in a bit. So first pair here, I actually picked these up maybe like a month and a half ago when I was down in Southern California in Palm Springs. We stopped by the Cabazon outlets, and I picked up this pair of Tom Ford sunglasses here. So these were a pair that I picked up, and I think, I'm assuming they're in here. They're actually not in here because they're over here on my desks somewhere. Here they are. These are some Tom Ford tortoiseshell sunglasses, and they are the two tones of the tortoiseshell with the gold accents here. I know that you can't, it's kind of hard, there you go, to see the gold accent there, but I have a pair of Tom Ford sunglasses that are like black and silver, or black and, yeah, like the kind of two-tone look here, but I want to kind of go with a different look, and I think brown and gold always comes off pretty well. And these are just kind of a classic silhouette. Big fan of like the Tom Ford sunglasses and brand as a whole. So yeah, pick these up because I just want a new pair of sunglasses for, the summer and just in general. So pick these up at the outlet, which means you get them at a pretty decent price. So I got these for about like $215 all in, which is, again, a very decent price for a luxury brand like this. And a pair of sunglasses that would typically probably run you like anywhere from $300 to $400 if you're getting them at like a standard store. Outlets tend to sell like things that are like out of season or kind of going into the next collection, so on and so forth. Sometimes it's like stuff that's like there's something slightly wrong with it or what have you, but pretty good deal on those. Now, next up is another pair of sunglasses that are completely different, and I did a whole video on this in Digital Dojos, but these are the Ray-Bans from Meta. And these are the smart sunglasses from Meta and Ray-Ban. It's a collaboration, and it's an evolution off of their previous Ray-Ban stories, I think they're called. But these are just your quintessential Ray-Ban. In this case, these are the Wayfarers. And I tend to say like wafers, but I believe it's pronounced Wayfarers. So it's a classic Ray-Ban silhouette. They look like your typical Ray-Ban sunglasses. And at initial purposes or in looks, you wouldn't be able to tell that they're any different until you notice the cameras right there on the left and right that can be used to take pictures. This also has an AI assistant built in. You have microphones, you have speakers. You can use these to listen to music when you're on the go. You can ask the AI questions. You can take video and upload it to your Instagram. You can live stream and kind of have that literal POV view when you're wearing these out and about. They sell these in different styles. They have them in the Wayfarer form factor. I believe they have another, it's escaping me right now, but another style of Ray-Bans you can get. And then you can get them in all sorts of colors, lenses. You can get prescription lenses. So these were a gift for me, actually, amidst this holiday season for Christmas. So, these are definitely something interesting that I wanted to test out, but wouldn't necessarily pull the trigger on myself. So I'm excited I got to kind of just check it out. Definitely an interesting product. Not for everybody. I can say that right off the bat. But if you want to check out my initial impressions, you can go ahead and check out the video on the Digital Dojos channel. And then just staying on the topic of some holiday gifts I picked up, my partner also got me this from Ugmonk. Ugmonk's analog system. If you've not seen this, Ugmonk is a company who makes like kind of like wooden goods. So this is like walnut here, and they make kind of like desk accessories. This is essentially just a to-do list item where you would just kind of have your to-do list card and you can prop it up like this. You could write on it, and then they have different cards. So they have a whole system of like, these are to-do list items for today, and then there's to-do list items for like the future, and the white balance is crazy off right now, but you get the idea. These are just like an analog system of cards that you can use in light of like a digital to-do list. I do like the aspect of having something physical that just sits on my desk, and it's made out of this nice walnut material, which I've been wanting for my desk setup here in the office/studio. So yeah, just a nice little desk accessory to kind of go with the overall space. It has this little metal divider, and yeah, just a nice little cool system. Check out Ugmonk. They make a lot of cool different products, but the analog system is definitely one of their more well-known kind of desk accessories here that they make. So you can see their logo right there and the little slit here for your cards to sit in. And that just kind of encapsulates like the stuff I recently got and has nothing to do with everything you have sitting behind me. So now I guess we got to dive in to all of that. Meta Quest 3, and there you go. Now I'm in pass-through mode. So I recently got these at launch, the Meta Quest 3, and I actually never got to upload my initial impressions video on these. At the time I was getting this, had a bunch of stuff in, very first world problems. But yeah, this is the Meta Quest 3. These are another product from Meta, well known for their, Oculus brand they acquired. This is the latest and greatest in their VR and mixed reality AR headset, and it's a pretty big jump up from the Quest 2, which I also have sitting back there, and the Oculus Rift, which I also have on my desk here. So I really just wanted to kind of dabble again in the VR space and get into it and see how I felt about the latest and greatest headset. This is the 128 gigabyte base model. This is, let me get this off my head now. Like I said, the latest from the company that is Meta. This has a lot of improvements in terms of just the tracking, the added cameras here, the improved pass-through mode to kind of see through what you're doing in real time, and adds on to the mixed reality effect. Obviously, it has internal spec bumps and increase for graphics and just general performance. The controllers, which I have sitting back there, are also just improved. They kind of got rid of that ring-like design, so they're kind of more hands-free. And overall, you get these new pancake lenses and just an improved overall VR experience. I will say I jumped more from the Rift over to the Meta 3. I had the Quest 2 there, but I didn't use it as much. VR is one of those things where I get into it for a period of time, and then I kind of forget about it for a while. But I really did want to just kind of try the latest and greatest. This is something it's pretty up there right now. It's the newest out there in terms of the consumer market, so it's going to start around $500. The Quest 2 is still a solid pickup for a lot of people amidst the holidays and whatnot, but for the VR enthusiasts, for people who really want to kind of try one of the latest and greatest products, then no question the Meta Quest 3 is going to be what you might be considering. There's definitely better options out there. There's definitely more higher-end VR headsets with improved specs and resolution and whatnot, but there's a reason Meta is kind of like the de facto standard when it comes to this space right now, when they acquired Oculus. And this is no exception. Not a big fan of the strap, I will say, if you want my initial impressions, but the pancake lenses, the overall build, the quality, the experience has been nothing but stellar thus far. But I definitely have to put more time in this before I'm ready to even give a definitive opinion on it. So if you want the full review, check out the Digital Dojo's YouTube channel. Keeping in line in gaming, another pickup I had in recent months was this. This is the Valve Steam Deck, and more specifically, the OLED Steam Deck. Even more specifically, the limited edition one here that is very dusty right now on the screen cover here. But this is the OLED edition Steam Deck. They did a limited edition model that is like this transparent look that I'm a big fan of when it comes to like technology, reminiscent of like the fantastic N64s. But yeah, this is the latest Steam Deck that Valve has updated. It's an updated model of the Steam Deck in that it has the OLED display, has slightly improved internals, and tweaks all across in different areas, whether it's the analog sticks, the haptic feedback. But spec-wise, it's still the same spec as the standard Steam Deck that I also have sitting back there. So you're not getting like an improved all-new CPU or all-new GPU. It's still using a lot of that same hardware. It's just packaged in a much better form factor with a better experience because of that OLED display, because of the improved internals, because of the improved fan system and cooling. It is the Steam Deck to get right now. If you do not have a Steam Deck and you've been holding out, the OLED Steam Deck is by all means the Steam Deck to grab. If you have the old model, you don't necessarily have to upgrade, but if you have the capacity, whether you can sell your old one, you're a big fan of the Steam Deck and you won't really want to kind of have the latest and greatest, then the Steam Deck OLED is going to change how you experience the Steam Deck that you already love. I would argue if you have a Steam Deck already and you don't use it that much, you just use it now and again, then you don't have to go out and upgrade to this OLED model. But if you're a big fan of it and you want an even better experience, then yeah, the Steam Deck OLED, I've been using this a lot lately since I got it at launch. I will say the ordering process and trying to get this model, though, was atrocious. It was definitely a battle to even get this order in. And at first I thought I lost out on it. And then thankfully, after constantly refreshing and retrying, I was able to snag this limited edition model. And if you thought I was done with the game pickups, missed the pedal. You are severely wrong. A lot more here to kind of showcase. So let me kind of go through some of these. Let's start with the middle pile here. These are a lot of the N64 titles I've picked up over the last couple months. Most of these were picked up locally here at some of the retro game stores. This is a Game Shark Pro that I got for the N64. This is from one of the sellers I buy from a lot at these game swaps. He's actually getting out of the game selling business and was liquidating a lot of his inventory, so I was able to get some good deals, including that Game Shark. I also got Judge Dredd here for the Genesis. I don't really have a big Sega Genesis collection, but wanted to get this title because I do remember playing that as a kid. You have a classic for the N64 and something I definitely needed for the collection in this specific, kind of reflective copy, holographic copy here. This is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask in the gold cartridge and pretty decent condition. A little slight scratching on the holo there, but overall, really, really solid condition. Classic title to have. Fun fact, I hate like that. It almost makes me like my skin crawl when you scratch this type of material. So I'm going to refrain from touching it, but had to get that title for sure. Jet Force Gemini. I got this actually. I was in Austin, Texas about a month ago for a company retreat, and I had a free day to kind of explore the retro community out there and check out some stores. So I checked out mainly one branch called Game Over. I got to go to two of their main stores, and I picked up Jet Force Gemini when I was out there. Unfortunately, the N64 collection was pretty picked over, but was able to get that for $20, it looks like. And before I went to their stores, I actually stopped by for my first time ever Half Price Books. I've never seen one of these stores. I've seen it a lot in the retro community for people who like shop on or do kind of retro game hunting and reselling, and they tend to check out Half Price Books or Crooks, whatever you want to call it. And I just wanted to check it out. It's basically like almost akin to a Goodwill where it's like books, media, video games, and I picked up this Toy Story 2 copy they had for $14.99. Also picked up Madden 2001. I believe I got this at the Game Swap. It was cheap for $8. So actually, no, I got this in Austin, Texas. The little blue cartridge there. NBA Live 2000. I had picked up at a Game Swap from one of the local sellers because I just needed this again for the complete collection. MRC. This is one of those racing titles for Nintendo 64. So pick this up. Turok Rage Wars. This one is a little bit more expensive title, $18. So pick this up. Pretty cool in the black cartridge. Apparently the gray variant of this is worth like $600+ for whatever reason. But yeah, I was a big fan of the original Turok. I actually never played the other editions of it on the N64, which is surprising because I played the original so much. And then you have Shadow Man. I got this for $12 at the Retro Fix, which is in another popular retro store here in the Bay Area. I remember vividly getting this game from Blockbuster, and like as a kid, I was like scared of this game, but I never beat it. So maybe now, all those years later, I can finally get around to doing that. So those are the N64 titles I picked up from across a couple places. Just to quickly get this out of the way, this is the Sega Genesis Mini. Sega Genesis Mini consoles, if you don't know, they're very popular, and they've kind of had a resurgence of like classic consoles reimagined in this mini form factor, which I'm a big fan of, and I've been collecting a lot of them. I had most of them except for the Sega Genesis line, so now I finally have the Sega Genesis Mini. It's essentially just a computer built in here, and it has like a lot of the popular titles from the console. In this case, this is the Sega Genesis Mini Japanese edition. This is the one from Japan, so it includes some Sega CD games on it. I believe there's over like 40 plus games on this console alone. So it has its own little interface. You play games. It's pretty cool, and it's a very reminiscent, nostalgic way to experience classic games. And you hook this up via HDMI to a modern TV. So probably for a lot of people better than getting like, depending on who you are, it's more convenient, I should say, not better, than getting the retro console itself. All right. Pushing this stack along here, I got all of this stuff, I think all of this stuff in Austin, Texas as well. So I found this PS5 webcam. This is mainly meant for like streaming on your PlayStation 5 for $25 at Game Over Video Games. Really decent condition. It has the cable, everything is in, again, solid condition. But yeah, I don't know if I'm really going to stream on my PS5, but I figured why not just get this accessory because it's $25. I think it normally sells for like nearly $60 brand new. So pretty solid deal on that. And of course, something I was on the hunt for in the complete opposite spectrum was the original webcam that came out for the PlayStation 2, also known as the iToy. I had one of these as a kid. Me and my sister used to play these iToy games a lot when I first got this, and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. It was very early days of like mixed reality. So you got to play these kind of games where you use your body as the controller. So with that, I picked up a couple games because they had like, I think it was like 50% off PlayStation 2 games. So like this game was literally $1. This is Operation Spy for the iToy, Anti-Grav for iToy for PlayStation 2. So yeah, 2 solid titles there to test out with the iToy. Speaking of classic titles, I had to pick this up when I was at Half Price Books because this box is just so nostalgic for me. This is a lot of where my gaming days got started, along with StarCraft and RuneScape. World of Warcraft really opened me up into the world of not just gaming, but like PC gaming specifically. It's why I got into computers. When my desktop broke, I was so adamant to fix it because I wanted to play World of Warcraft. I had just moved from the States back to Japan. All my friends, like the only friends I had in the States were on World of Warcraft. So this box was nostalgic for me, and I thought it'd be fun to buy it and kind of have it for the collection, maybe just kind of display it on a shelf here. But actually, the game has the CDs, has the booklets all inside, so complete in box, if you will, but really I just wanted to get this for display. A couple other classic PS2 titles that I picked up. Tomb Raider Lara Croft Anniversary Edition for PlayStation 2, just to kind of add to the PS2 library. Spider-Man Greatest Hits for the PlayStation 2. I love this game growing up, so classic to have. I forgot about this. It's still sealed here, but I went to Best Buy recently and also kind of picked up a lot of 4K Ultra HDs. I've been trying to get more into like physical media for movies as well, especially with like a lot of the direction digital platforms are going. And you don't truly own the content, so I figured get some 4K Ultra HDs and I can rip them and so on and so forth to have backups. But yeah, Best Buy is having a lot of sales on this because I think they're moving a lot of their physical inventory to online when it comes to movies. So pick this up. And then last but not least, Final Fantasy here. 12? Am my Roman numerals correct there? I honestly could be wrong. I've just been truthfully trying to get more Final Fantasy games, and I'm trying to get namely the collector's edition because I want to get all the Final Fantasies. And this is one I admittedly, by my lack of knowledge of the Roman numerals there, did not play, but I just thought this steelbook was so cool here. And dual disc steelbook, bonus discs is in there, manuals in there. Final Fantasy, again, classic to have for the PlayStation 2 collection. Last but not least here in front of me, or actually not last, but handheld, Game Boy Advance. I've been meaning to get this for the handheld collection. It's the one handheld I do not have, and found this for a decent price. It came with, obviously, the Game Boy Advance. It came with, where did I put that? Oh, there it is. It's like a magnifying screen that you can attach. Quite literally, you would play it like this, so the screen is bigger. So you get that big screen experience by attaching this little attachment here. So they threw that in for free. I think I got this for like less than, maybe like around $60. Game Boy Advance, threw some batteries in there. There's a game in there right now. It's like just like a flash cart or like one of those like all-in-one carts. But yeah, works. There it is, nostalgia. The Game Boy Advance. So yeah, Wanted this for the handheld collection. I've been wanting to mod one with like an IPS display in the future, but for now, this is just the stock one I wanted to rock in my collection. Goes well here with the desk mat. But wait, there's still more. A big part of me is so happy to be getting through this video because I can finally clean up my workbench area, which has been just stacked with boxes and stuff I've been meaning to unbox or check out or remind myself that I need to film this video. But yeah, we have another pile of stuff here. Let's kind of go through this. 8-Bit Do or 8-Bit Do. This is the Pro 2 Bluetooth gamepad. I actually picked up a couple of these controllers amidst, I think it was either Black Friday or the holiday sale. We've been meaning to get some controllers for our office because we have a Switch set up in our game lounge at the office, and employees can like play during lunch. Sometimes we have little tournaments, and I want to erase the doubt that people were losing because they had Joy-Cons. So we have a couple Pro controllers, but we also want to try out some other controllers that were a little bit more affordable and versatile. So we got these 8-Bit Do controllers. So I've been meaning to test this out. This is like a very well-known in the community, really great for platformers. It's Bluetooth, so it works for Windows, Android, Mac OS, Steam, and of course your Nintendo Switch. So yeah, this is just still in the box here. Very well-known company when it comes to retro accessories and like modern accessories for the retro consoles and whatnot. But again, this is just their Pro 2 controller, which is very well known in the space, and here we have it. And it's just, that very classic form factor and button layout without the kind of price point of the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. So yeah, we got this, and we got their other Ultimate controller that we're going to be testing out in the game lounge, and I'll be testing it out here with my setup as well. All right, moving along. The Raspberry Pi 5. I did a whole video on this. This is the latest Raspberry Pi computer from the company that is, the Raspberry Pi Foundation. These are essentially like microcomputers, little micro boards that you can throw in a case like this and quite literally have a computer that can function as like a desktop computer. It can be a full-on for browsing, watching shows, streaming, whatnot. And the Raspberry Pi 5, namely, got a lot of upgrades internally with the specs and the processor, and there goes the whole board. But it just sits in a case like this. You can get all sorts of one. This is the official Raspberry Pi 5 case. But I got this, I was fortunate to get this at the time of launch. My colleague was at our local computer store because we were picking some stuff up for work, and they had these in stock, and they were actually like limiting them to one per customer because that's how like popular these are and how fast they sell out. But yeah, I was meaning to pick one of these up because you can use these for all sorts of things. You can use these for like a server. You can use these to run your smart home. I use a Raspberry Pi 4 for my home assistant. I picked this up because I've been wanting to throw this into something else that I forgot to mention in this video, my Arcade 1-Up. One of the gifts I got from my partner when I moved into this new space as a little housewarming gift was my Arcade 1-Up machine, the Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet from Best Buy. So Arcade 1-Up, they make modern versions of arcade cabinets without the crazy price tag and the crazy size, and you build it quite literally yourself. So I built my Arcade 1-Up here, the Mortal Kombat 2 edition, and I got the Arcade 1-Up with the intention of modding it. So I want to throw in a Raspberry Pi 5 running something like RetroPie, and I can unlock a bunch more games and have an arcade cabinet feel, but have so much more games and a customizable interface. So that's the reason I got this Raspberry Pi 5. Got a couple accessories with it outside the case. I got the passive cooler because I've been wanting to do testing with this. Apparently this is a little bit better than the fan when it comes to cooling it, especially if you're doing things like I am when you're like overclocking it and whatnot. And then this is the Raspberry Pi 5 27-watt USB-C power supply. This is like the OEM one, and recommend if you're going to be doing overclocking and other things with your Raspberry Pi 5. While standard ones will work USB-C power supplies, this will get you the full throughput and full power output for the Raspberry Pi 5 because it has those USB 3.0 ports that if you want to get the full output on all the ports, you're going to need this. It's like $12. If you can get it, shell out for this. Just going to make your world that much more easier. So yeah, Raspberry Pi 5. I've been messing around a lot with that. I did a video on that on the Digital Dojo's channel. Let's kind of keep in theme here with the computer accessories because these are the kind of last bunch of stuff I needed to mention here. A couple other things I picked up from the same store. Hard drives, namely NVMe drives here. There was a sale during the Black Friday for hard drives. They had some ridiculous deals on NVMe drives. Namely, one of them was the WD Blue SN570. This is the 500 gigabyte drive that was quite literally going for $15. I still didn't look into this. I don't know. Is like Western Digital, are these known for failing, or is there something crazy that I just might have missed out on with this specific model? But I know this is not the latest and greatest like PCIe 4.0 or what have you, but this is a 500 gigabyte M2 for $15, and I couldn't pass on that. I was going to actually use this to throw into the Raspberry Pi 5 because you can actually put up NVMe drives in specific cases. If anything, it's also just handy to have extra spare NVMe drives for projects and whatnot for $15. Couldn't pass that up. And then they had like I think it was maybe like a 30% off. I truthfully don't remember the exact sticker price here, but this is a WD Black SN850X NVMe. This is a 4 terabyte SSD, and this is a NVMe drive, Gen 4. So faster. It's like the gaming spec, I believe, the WD Blacks. But truthfully, I got this because my main workstation, especially with these videos, the storage runs out quick. I have a bunch of NVMe slots on my motherboard, so I might as well max it out. So I wanted to throw another 4 terabyte drive in here to kind of increase the storage even further, so that I'm not constantly having to move things between my workstation and the NAS. I have another drive to kind of increase there. So this is yet to be thrown into the machine, but pick that up as well. Speaking of data and data migration, I also just picked up this. This is just like a random brand Unitech. It's a 2.5 hard disk converter to USB-C. So you can take a SATA drive, plug it into this, and then plug it into like a laptop or a computer via USB-C. I've been doing a lot of like data backups, stripping old drives, getting data off it, stuff like that. So this is going to be handy to have. Yeah, just a little extra tech accessory. Speaking of tech accessories, I also picked up this iFixit Minnow kit that's still sitting here in the box. This is like a tech travel kit by iFixit. So this is like a much smaller version than their typical repair kits. And I got this because I wanted a kit that I can just kind of keep. I have one here in my studio. I have one at the office. But I wanted to have something that I can just keep in my daily like backpack and daily carry, so that when I'm out and about. Nowadays, I don't go into the field as much when it comes to our IT consulting business, but just in general, it's never, hurts to have it and have it handy. So this is just the Minnow kit. It includes 3, 6, 7 screwdriver bits, and it's very tiny, as you can see here. So open it up. There's a little silicone gel packet. Yeah, pretty cute little kit here. iFixit handle, and then your drill bits here, or screwdriver bits, all in this tiny iFixit case. So this is the Minnow kit here, which is definitely going to be useful just as an everyday carry thing. And then I also picked up, I forgot about this, the NZXT F120 RGB Duo fan. I picked this up from the Central Computer local store as well. When I first built this workstation, like mid this year, the NZXT case I have here, which is the H9, I forget the model numbers, what they're calling these nowadays. Anyways, it has 3 of these fans built in. I had the NZXT cooler, so I had a total of 6, but the rear exhaust fan was just the standard case fan. So I picked up an F120 RGB Duo, so just everything to match. So I need to throw this in alongside the hard drive, and I also want to get some more RAM, so I'll be meaning to just kind of update my main workstation here soon enough. And let's just go through everything. The last 2 tech accessories here that I want to kind of throw out there. This is an Anker power battery pack that my partner got me as a little stocking stuffer because I never have like my battery bank around. I always, when I travel for whatever reason, I just don't pack like cables and whatnot. And this makes it easy because you can quite literally use it as a battery bank and just plug it into your phone and charge it that way. And you can keep your phone. You don't have to have a wire attached. And yeah, charge it on the go and still use your phone. Apparently dinner's ready. And then lastly here, I picked this up amidst the holiday sale on Amazon. I've yet to set it up, but this is just the Aqara FP2 presence sensor. So this isn't, if you're in the smart home world, essentially what this is like a millimeter wave presence sensor. So this is like a much fancier motion sensor. What things like this can do is, while it's definitely pricier in terms of its price point, I think I got it on sale for like $60, but it's normally like 80 to 90. It can detect not just motion, but it knows when people are in the room through millimeter wave, and it can interact with your smart home in a specific way where you can say, okay, if I walk over in this corner, turn just those lights on. When I walk away, if there's no presence detected, turn off the lights. But you can get real nitty gritty with this. Compared to a motion sensor, for example, if you walk into the living room and you sit on the couch, a motion sensor might eventually turn off because it's not detecting motion. With a millimeter wave sensor, it can detect somebody's presence and know that they're still there, but they might just be laying down or sitting or watching TV. You can put this in a bedroom and it can tell, like, hey, somebody's on the bed and somebody's still present. So it can run specific automations based off of that. So you can get really complex with something like this. I've been meaning to test this. I've heard like mixed reviews about this thing. It can do a lot, but at the same time, sometimes it's not as reliable in terms, or not necessarily not reliable. It's not as easy to set up all those automations and whatnot. So we'll see. I'll be testing these out and giving more thoughts and opinions on this in the future. But yeah, this is Aqara's FP2 sensor. I am a big fan, I will say, of Aqara in general and their overall smart home products. So I'm hoping for the best here. This is one of those purchases where I was just clearly having a crisis and wanted to buy something and have a new toy to mess around with. But this is the Logitech G923 racing wheel, like a sim racing wheel. I've been always wanting to get into like sim racing and kind of dip my toes in the water. And my justification of dipping the toes in the water was getting this wheel. So this is the Xbox edition that works with the PC as well. But this is, just a racing sim wheel. Comes with the pedals, which are sitting under the desk right now. And I wanted to test this out because I want to build a racing sim setup in this space with just the sheer amount of space I have here. It's something I've always wanted to do. But I wanted to kind of dabble and see how I felt before getting like a fancier or mid-tier or high-end setup. And this is the wheel that a lot of people swear by. It's definitely been around for years. It has a lot of support from the community. There's a whole modding community behind this, believe it or not. I know it's not like the best out there, and it's made by a company like Logitech, which some people like love or hate. But in terms of like accessories, it does its job. And I've been able to play like a lot of Assetto Corsa, Forza, and some other titles using this wheel as just a baseline and to kind of test it out. So yeah, it has the true force feedback, has some paddle shifters here. They have a PS5 edition as well as a Xbox edition, and then it just kind of clamps on your desk if you don't like mount it to like an actual racing sim setup. So yeah, picked this up a couple months ago and definitely need to get my money's worth and play around with it more. And I think lastly, actually, is just this Hylian Shield display art here or figurine. It is a magnetic base, so you can actually like hold the shield and display it like this, but it has this little base here which attaches magnetically to the shield so that it just sits and can sit atop like a little case or a display case. Big fan of the Zelda series. I always saw this in Best Buy when it came out. I think this came out with Tears of the Kingdom, and then they try to kind of like sell it again. Sorry, it came out for Breath of the Wild, I think, and they try to kind of promote it again when Tears of the Kingdom came out. At the time, like the price point I think was like $100. So like I would never would pull the trigger on it, but I just wanted it as a kind of decor piece for the studio here with the retro game collection and my other Zelda apparel. And then I was at a game swap recently where somebody traded this into a seller. I was buying some games for him, and he had it like in the trade pile, and he threw it in for like an extra, I think, $45. So at that price point, couldn't pass up on it. Pretty cool like display piece if you're a big fan of Zelda, especially. So yeah, this is the Hylian Shield pickup here. And all of that, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait. I lied. Game Boy pouch, $20. This is just like a cool, nostalgic Nintendo Game Boy case that was meant for the Game Boy back in the day. I have my analog pocket sitting in it, as you can see here, which I thought was like a very retro meets modern fit. Fits perfectly there, as you can see. This is the analog pocket transparent edition. Did a whole video on this. But yeah, that's another pickup there. And that officially is everything that I have here for the haul. It is a mess around me right now, but I hope you enjoyed this. A lot of random tech, a lot of stuff I've accrued over the last 3 months, a lot of money, I'm sure, wasted in certain areas, but hey, that's what these are about, to kind of show some of the stuff I'm into, passionate about collecting, and just, have accrued over the last couple months. So you get to witness my irresponsibility all here in this 50-minute video. Hope you enjoyed this haul. It's been a, really fun year to kind of launch this channel and kind of get into some new content, use this as a personal outlet, just to kind of upload things that I want to upload. I have a lot of aspirations and ideas and things that I want to do for this channel and branch more out into the lifestyle and different content that I didn't get to necessarily do this year. I'm really excited about the recent move into this new space and having this new office and studio down here on this floor to kind of create content and really kind of bring some of those ideas to fruition. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun making content for this channel, and I'm really looking forward to producing more in the year to come. I hope you all had a happy holidays if you're celebrating. Hope you have a fantastic and safe New Year's upcoming, and looking forward to what 2024 has to bring. And with that, I'll catch you all in the next video.